Welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I hope your day is going smoothly, because today we're stepping into one of the most talked about stories in Turkish showbiz, a conversation that has stirred timelines, fueled whispers, and had everyone asking the same question: what on earth is going on between Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda? You saw the title, so you know where we're headed. We're unpacking the rumors, the photos, the statements, the silence, and the surge of emotion from fans who can't look away. Before we get swept up in the drama, make sure you subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets and turn on your notifications. You won't want to miss what's next. Let's cut right to it. The duo who captured millions in the hit series Yıldırım, Gökberk Yıldırım as our brooding ferret, and Cemre Arda as our luminous siren, found themselves at the center of swelling speculation about whether their on-screen chemistry spilled over into real life. What began as innocent chatter about their effortless rapport evolved into a narrative that many began to treat as something more concrete. And when you add their massive fan bases and the breathless pace of social media, the spark turned into a bonfire. In other words, a scandal, or, at least, the making of one. It started months ago. A few backstage shots, a couple of candid clips, and blurry late-night photos made the rounds across social platforms and gossip sites. At first, fans chalked it up to the reality of filming, long days, tight rehearsal schedules, and a bond that grows when two leads hold an entire romance on their shoulders. People swooned over Ferret and Siren and hoped, even quietly, that maybe Gökberk and Cemre were living a version of that story off camera. After all, when two actors pull you into a love story week after week, it's easy for audiences to project those feelings onto the real people behind the characters. But slowly, the conversation shifted. Close friends' alleged observations popped up in threads. Whispered accounts about private hangouts started surfacing. Anonymous DMs claimed to have overheard fragments of conversations. Then came those suggestive details. The after-wrap dinners that went just a little longer than expected, the ride shares after late rehearsals, the way they avoided eye contact when certain questions were tossed at them during press lines. The mood changed from "they're so cute together" to "is there something they're not saying?" This is where that loaded word, scandal, crashed into the discourse. What makes it a scandal? In Turkey, like anywhere with a passionate entertainment culture, the line between public adoration and private boundaries gets thin. Yıldırım's love story became a weekly ritual for viewers, a comfort, a thrill. Fans wanted to believe. Others braced themselves. Some worried about how such speculation might affect Cemre's carefully crafted image or complicate her personal life, which, as many knew, was not as uncomplicated as the show's fairy tale beats. The chatter reached fever pitch when the rumor mill threw in the heaviest accusation of all: infidelity. The claim, swirling without hard proof, suggested that Cemre might have crossed a line while she was still with her then partner. It was a lightning strike. Social media splintered. One camp cheered for the possibility of the screen romance leaping into reality, insisting that love is love and sparks don't ask for timing. Another camp felt protective of the unseen party, insisting that respect and timing matter more than chemistry, lashing out at both Gökberk and Cemre. Overnight, timelines split into cheering sections and tribunals. And of course, Yıldırım fans were caught in the crosscurrent. Some embraced the fantasy, Ferret and Siren in real life. They wrote threads connecting tiny moments, the shared laugh that didn't look rehearsed, the subtle smile that seemed too tender for blocking. Others put their foot down, asking for boundaries and reminding everyone that actors aren't their characters. They questioned whether ethical lines had been blurred and demanded that the off-screen story be handled with more care. Then came the media. Front pages amplified every whisper. Panels dissected body language from red carpets and press days. Grainy clips were replayed on loop. Insiders emerged, each with a sliver of a story, each framed as a puzzle piece that might fill the picture. The slightest nod or glance became its own breaking headline. With every segment, the pressure mounted. Every step Gökberk and Cemre took in public felt examined beneath a microscope. How did they respond? At first, silence. A practiced, professional silence. The kind of silence that can either soothe a situation or supercharge it. In this case, it did the latter. Likes and unlikes on social platforms gained mystical importance, captions were picked apart, sightings were mapped. It couldn't last forever. Then the wave crested, news broke that Cemre and her longtime partner had ended their relationship. It was reported without flourish, but the impact was immediate. For many, that update looked like an indirect confirmation of the swirling narrative. For others, it was a private loss turned into a public spectacle. Either way, it marked a turn. Shortly after, Cemre issued a measured message. No bombshells. No declarations. She clarified that she was single, focused on her work, and that her private life, and the lives of those around her, deserved basic respect. She didn't name names, didn't feed the fire, and didn't deny the obvious chemistry that everyone could see on screen. The statement did what it needed to do without doing too much. As for Gökberk, he leaned into the persona that's followed him since his earliest roles, reserved, careful, intensely focused on the craft. He didn't give the media the clip they wanted. But the way he stood near Cemre at certain events, the casual familiarity in their backstage moments, the warmth he let slip in unguarded seconds, it all spoke just loudly enough for people to write their own scripts. Was it friendship? Was it the afterglow of long hours making a show that depends on trust? Or was it the quiet beginning of something more? Here's the thing about this era, rumors don't tap on the door anymore. They blow the hinges off. A photo can circle the globe before anyone has time to breathe. Public opinion forms in minutes, calcifies in hours, and sometimes forgets the human beings in the middle. Fans become juries and judges without realizing how heavy that gavel feels. The pressure on Gökberk and Cemre was immense. And still, the machine kept spinning. And yet, one truth stood firm: the popularity of Gökberk, Yıldırım, Cemre, Arda, and Yalın didn't crack. If anything, the fascination grew. The ratings held, the clips trended, and that central magnet, Ferhat and Ceren's romance, kept pulling people back. Audiences still swooned when Ferhat's guard slipped, and they still leaned forward when Ceren drew her lines. Whatever people believed about the off-screen situation, they kept coming back for the on-screen story that started it all. It's worth pausing here. Until anyone involved chooses to say something unambiguous, what we're left with are interpretations. Hints. Assumptions. Rumors. No matter how many threads are spun, no matter how many closed UPS are dissected, we do not have a confession, a declaration, or a documentary. That distance between what we think we see and what is real is exactly where gossip lives, and where it sometimes gets dangerous. What can we take from this? First, the private lives of public figures are a slippery slope. Curiosity can become intrusion in a heartbeat. Second, sometimes screen magic paints our expectations in colors brighter than real life can manage. We want Ferhat and Ceren to be Gökberk and Cemre because it makes the feelings we have while watching feel more true. Third, media and social networks can magnify a whisper into a roar, and a glance into a headline. It's powerful. It's intoxicating. It's not always accurate. But here's what we can say without hesitation. Gökberk and Cemre are two talents in full bloom, and their work on Yalın has pushed them into a wider universe of attention. They've built a partnership on set that feels trusting and nuanced, one that makes every scene between Ferhat and Ceren feel lived in. Whatever is or isn't happening when the cameras stop, their commitment to the job shows. The discipline. The late nights. The careful dance between vulnerability and control that good acting always requires. So where does that leave us? With a story still unfolding, still being written in real time, by two people who owe us their performances, and not much more. And yet, as fans, we're invested. We talk, we guess, we hope, we analyze. We look for meaning in the smallest gesture because stories make us feel less alone. That's the paradox: we know it's a show, but it feels personal. And this latest chapter in the lives of Gökberk, Yıldırım and Cemre Arda feels personal to many of you. Let's pull the threads together. Over recent months, chatter about a real-life connection between the stars of Yıldırım, Gökberk and Cemre surged. The rumors were powered by candid photos, alleged witness accounts, and body language parsed like sacred text. The conversation hit a flashpoint when talk of possible infidelity entered the chat, followed by the news of Cemre's breakup with her then-partner. Cemre clarified that she was single and asked for privacy. Gökberk, characteristically quiet, let his focus on work do most of the talking. And through it all, the series kept humming, and Ferit and Siren kept drawing you back for more. Now, here at Turkish Spotlight Secrets, we're not pretending to have the missing piece that turns rumor into truth. We are, however, tuned into the emotional temperature of this moment. The way fans are torn between fantasy and reality, the way protective instincts kick in, the way people cheer for love and defend boundaries, sometimes in the same breath. This is a story that has everyone imagining their own ending. Maybe that's why it's impossible to ignore. If there's one final point to stress, it's this: the absence of official confirmation means that everything swirling around is still speculation, however compelling it may feel. Respect matters. Space matters. People matter. And on the other side of the discourse are two working actors holding up a show that demands their full attention every single day. We've reached the end of today's deep dive, but the conversation won't stop here. Tell me, do you think the story people are building around Gökberk and Cemre has any truth to it? Do you care where the line sits between performance and private life? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading, always. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, share it with anyone who can't resist a good Yıldırım discussion, and make sure you're subscribed to Turkish Spotlight Secrets with notifications on. Your support keeps this community strong, respectful, and ready for whatever chapter comes next. Until then, take care, and we'll meet again in the next video.